Coronavirus and real estate. What is going on in the Denver housing market? Hey everyone, it's Alyson Wahl with Live South Denver. Welcome to or back to my channel. I am a real estate strategist and realtor in the South Denver area, helping people make their move to and in South Denver. So I am getting a lot of questions from current clients and buyers and sellers about coronavirus and its impact on either current transactions or the market. And so based on the questions I'm getting, I just thought it was time for me to share what I'm seeing in the market with all of you. Question number one, my town is about to declare a state of emergency. What is that gonna do to our transaction? Is it gonna delay it? Is it gonna derail it? That is a great question. Here are just some of the hiccups and speed bumps I foresee that could be ahead of us if we continue down the road of tighter social distancing and isolations. Completing work verifications with employers could get more challenging. If federal, state, and local governments close, we could see challenges with FHA, VA, and USDA lending. We could see challenges with getting deeds recorded at the local level. And if we see further restrictions with personnel in the workplace, we'll see partial or full closures of lenders, appraisers, title companies, your home insurance company, and any more strain on the system within any of those could reduce production or output, which I think will elongate the delivery time by each of those. That will stretch out our transaction time. But our job as your real estate professional is to handle these things head on. And if you want to be buying and selling, to keep you moving forward in the midst of this. So one of the primary things we're doing now is looking at setting longer contractual time periods. So instead of a traditional 30-day time frame for a contract, I would now be projecting out for probably minimum 5 weeks, probably 6 weeks. I would be encouraging my buyers to lock their interest rates and to lock them quickly and for as long as possible as well in anticipation of delays. And we'll also be talking with buyers about getting that employment verification nailed down as soon as possible. All right, question number two. I'm getting this one a lot. How's the market, or what are you seeing in the market? Now, this is a common question in real estate, right? Everyone just wants to know, how's the market? But I'm getting asked this question a little bit differently. People are wanting to know, should I be worried? What are you seeing ahead? They're really asking me to project. They're not asking me exactly what I'm seeing today. Because what I've been seeing for the last 2 months is a very, very strong market. What we've seen nationally has been a really great first quarter through January and February. The March numbers are yet to come. They'll probably be a little bit softer. And then for Denver, our market, let me tell you, it has been great. I'm gonna run through some numbers for you. February gave us the highest number of new listings that we've seen in 5 years. Denver saw a 4% increase year over year in sold properties in February. The sales price to list price ratio. This tells us if I put a house on the market for $400,000, and then it sold for $400,000, that's 100% list to sales price ratio. So the sales to list price ratio for February of this year compared to February of last year increased by 1%. That is a large increase. All of this is telling us that homes priced right in Denver, where we have a low interest rate, low inventory, hot market, are moving fast and for top dollar. But that was January and February. And now we're in March and we're in a whole different phase of things. Most likely we'll see some shrinking of the economy in Q2. The coronavirus has had a very strong impact very quickly. We don't know if this is going to go into Q3. The Fed has done some great work by dropping interest rates down to 0, but we were already historically low. They didn't have a lot of room to move. Congress is introducing more fiscal packages to really get things going with businesses. So they're doing all they can to keep the money flowing. But why is this important? You're saying, Alyson, you're talking about a housing market. Why are you bringing this up? Well, it's really important that we keep the dollars flowing through businesses because they're paying the employees. You're an employee somewhere, I'm guessing. And as we all have money in our pockets and have confidence to spend, that's what drives the economy. The US economy is a 70% consumer-driven economy. We're only 30% supply-side driven. So what that means is that you and I and collectively all of us really have a lot to do and say about how well we recover and how quickly. Question number 3, I like this neighborhood. If there's a recession, how will this area fare? Boy, this is another great question, and I wish I'd had the crystal ball to be able to tell any of you who ask me how a certain area or neighborhood is going to do if the economy shifts for several quarters. I can tell you, based on history, a couple of things about the Denver market and the types of houses that do well when the economy shifts from being in the strong market that we've been in for the last 9 years. So let's take a look at that. This chart right here shows data from the last 5 recessions, and it compares Denver to the nation. And what you'll see is that Denver outperformed the country in 4 out of the 5 last recessions. In a recession, which is defined as a contracting of the economy for 2 quarters in a row, does not mean that home prices automatically decrease. Those two do not always go hand in hand. And in fact, if you look at the graph, you'll see that nationally, 3 out of the 5 last recessions, home prices grew. And for Denver, 4 out of the 5 last recessions, home prices grew. And it was only the last recession, what we call the Great Recession, where the entire thing was founded on the cause of a housing crisis of subprime lending, where housing prices just plummeted for a while. So I show you that to really encourage you that just because we may be heading into a period of contraction over this next quarter, it does not mean that home prices are even going to flatten necessarily nationally or in the Denver market. We don't know, we have to watch and see. I do really wish I had the crystal ball, but with the way the market's been going, with the low inventory, the high demand, the high paying jobs in Denver, it would not surprise me if we didn't really see much change in home prices at all. If anything, they would stay flat. They may still grow through this. Now, another major real estate company after the last recession looked at what qualities or traits in homes maintained their home value best. And here's what they came up with. Single family homes held their value better than townhomes and condos. Houses that were a little bit more spread out fared better than houses and homes that were in a more dense area. Homes that had more bedrooms did better than homes with fewer bedrooms. The research showed that homes with 2 stories fared better than homes that were 1 story. I definitely found that one interesting because here in Colorado, a ranch style home is at a premium. It sells like hotcakes. So this may be area dependent, but since they searched all over the nation, all of this data kind of got pooled together. The 5th trait they found were that pre-war homes fared better than newer homes. So I think they were finding that historic era homes really maintained their value, and that makes complete sense. Another bit of information that was also discovered is that homes in high cost areas maintain their value better than homes in low cost areas. Now, at first blush, you may wonder why. However, places like California, Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Texas are desirable areas to live, strong incomes, great job market. The lower cost of living areas were what they called Rust Belt areas. These are places where the job market is not as strong, the towns are often smaller. When the recession hit, particularly the last recession where this data was taken from, it hit very hard and there just wasn't a lot there to encourage a rebound. So what do I see for buyers while we're in the midst of what is going on with coronavirus around us? Buyers are economy responsive. I see buyers still very eager to jump in with these very low interest rates and leverage them to get as much house as possible for as little money as possible. For buyers that have a job that is stable, even in what's going on with this market, they may be having to work from home, but it's not affecting them. And if they're not pulling their down payment out of the stock market, which we know has gone a little crazy the last few weeks, these buyers are really truly ready to jump right in. Interest rates are low, their down payment is secured elsewhere, their job is stable, they are ready to buy. For those buyers who are pulling money out of the stock market, they really may be putting things on hold and reevaluating for a bit of time. If their job is not stable because of what's going on, they definitely are going to be reassessing and probably waiting until things settle down. We may be looking at Q3 buyers, which will really shift our business on the buy side later in the summer, which is usually a slower time of year for the market. Buyers who are waiting for things to stabilize, whether it's job or stock market, I expect there's going to be a rush on housing when things stabilize. The feds have promised to keep the lending rate low, the bank-to-bank lending rate low, until things stabilize economically. That means that mortgage lending rates will probably also get the benefit of that for quite a while after the coronavirus situation has started to settle down. But buyers are really going to want to maximize that for themselves in the housing market. So what do I see for sellers? Sellers, listen up. For those buyers who are ready, I am seeing that they are house hunting online with ferocity. They are home, they're working from home, and their kids are at home, and they will be for a few weeks. So there's a lot more time spent on the internet and looking at houses and doing some things to relieve the tension. So if you have a house you are listing or are ready to list, there are buyers ready to buy. So if you are ready to sell, don't feel like it's a bad time. I know there are sellers who want to wait, who selling now is an option for you. You thought you'd enter the market, but now you don't have to. I understand, not everyone's gonna jump in right now, and that's probably a good move. But if you need to sell, you wanna sell, you have an opportunity in front of you, you're moving to be with family, you have a deep-seated need or want, there is a market for you to sell, and there are buyers who wanna buy. So I would encourage you to talk to someone you trust and evaluate your situation and your market. We do know that sellers are gonna wanna hold off because they have concerns about people coming into their home that they don't know where they've been, they don't know if the person would be respectful enough to stay out of their home if they've been exposed. There will be some pulling back on the market until this passes and we really feel like we can come back together and not implement social distancing. So we do expect to see a contraction in inventory in the market until things are back to normal. But what's that gonna do? Sellers who are holding off are creating a further tightening of inventory in what is already a tight market, nationally, but especially here in Denver. And when we have a tight market, it generally drives up home prices. Waiting to sell your home may be in your best interest. Jumping into the market may be in your best interest. You really need someone that you can trust who can advise you on what's going on in your market, what your goals are, to determine where you're gonna get the maximum value. And I say all that not as a sales pitch, not as a sell your home now pitch. It really is just an encouragement that you can still live your life the way you want and do it wisely in the midst of all this craziness that is going on. Because we love to have control, don't we? I mean, look at all the runs on toilet paper. We just wanna know that there's something that we have power over. And I encourage you all to know that you do have power over when you sell and when you buy. Just have a great advisor on your team. Stay healthy, and I'll see you next week.